It's ridiculous. I've never been to a place quite like this before.
The state of Florida is well known as a must-visit destination for wildlife lovers, especially those interested in birds. On a trip to Florida, we went to visit many different hotspots, but some of them stood out to us more than others. We went with our friend Greg to explore one such location, Orlando Wetlands.
We're here at Orlando Wetlands Park, and I think it's a pretty cool location. So we're going to kind of walk around, see what we can find. It is absolutely packed here. There's tons of people, so I hope that means that it's a good spot.
Orlando Wetlands was once ranch land, but was converted to wetlands to help manage wastewater. Aside from the project being a success in terms of water reclamation, the habitat attracted hundreds of different animal species, from alligators to a plethora of birds. Currently, the wetlands consist of over 1,600 acres of land and come complete with trails, an education center, and even a boardwalk. Before even getting into the actual wetlands, we got distracted by some resting vultures.
We stopped to take a look at these black vultures because they're a species that we don't get normally up in Wisconsin, so we always appreciate seeing them. And it's really interesting to note the differences between them and the turkey vulture. They look different, they fly different, and they kind of behave a little different. But it's neat to see this group of all of these ones just hanging out and being super close to us.
After spending some time looking at the vultures and finding a few smaller birds hopping around in the trees, we headed into the actual wetlands. We immediately took advantage of one of the wetlands' most convenient features, tram rides.
Greg suggested we do one of the tram tours because the place is pretty big, so we're going to do that in about 10 minutes. But the educational stuff here is amazing. They have really nice restroom facilities. Seems like just a perfect spot for families or beginner birders to come. They have a lot of educational resources, so it's really cool to be at a place like that, especially one that is near Orlando or in Orlando, one of the larger cities.
Tram rides run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on weekends, including Fridays. They are free with donations appreciated and last 45 to 60 minutes. We began our tour with our guides, who pointed out birds and other animals as we drove on the wetland trails. Some of the most notable birds on the first half of the tour were two mottled ducks, a classic southeastern species, and an incredibly tough to spot American bittern. In addition to these birds, and the many others we saw, was one that got us really excited, even though it turned out to be extremely common in these wetlands.
Guy looks at adult purple gallinule, gorgeous. There's one right there, actually.
Oh, that's a beautiful one down there.
Yeah, that one to the right there.
The purple gallinule is among the most beautiful birds in all of the United States, with a green back, namesake purple head and underside, and a blue to turquoise gradient in the places those two colors meet. They have a bright red and yellow bill, as well as very bright yellow feet, with long toes that they use to walk on the top of floating plants, or even hold on to plants with. These birds certainly look like something that would live in the tropical wetlands of South America, and in fact, they are a year-round resident in much of that continent, as well as the Caribbean islands and the coasts of Mexico. In the United States, they can be found in Florida year-round, and expand into the more coastal parts of states such as Alabama and Texas during the summer. It's worth noting that purple gallinules actually do have a habit for flying pretty far out of their normal range. For that reason, look for these birds in places you may not expect based on their range maps. In addition, purple gallinules can be found in places with fresh water and floating plants. In marshes and rice fields, they will sometimes walk between taller vegetation, or walk on top of floating vegetation, as they forage for both plants and small animals, such as aquatic invertebrates and even some smaller vertebrates. We saw many more purple gallinules during the tram ride, and continued to see more classic freshwater wetlands birds as well, including the snail-eating specialist limpkin, a yellow-crowned night heron, and even some non-avian animals, such as the multitudes of alligators on the banks. The tram ride was a great way to cover a lot of ground and see many birds without having to walk. Having a guide was also helpful because it gave us some inside information about where birds usually were, as well as information about the wetlands themselves. After the tour, we headed to the boardwalk, which many people told us was a must visit. We're about to go on the boardwalk here, and it's one of the coolest features that allows you to get close to a lot of different wading birds, in particular spoonbills. So we're about to see if we can find some nice views of spoonbills here and any other cool birds as well. As soon as we got onto the boardwalk, we immediately noticed that the birds there would get extremely close to us. It started with a common gallinule that literally swam under the walk.
We just had a really close-up view of a common gallinule, and the more places I've been here, the more it just feels like a photographer's or videographer's paradise. If you want to photograph and take video of these marsh birds at close range, come to Florida. It is absolutely insane how close the birds get to you.
Little did we know, the common gallinule was just the beginning. Right here, we have a white ibis. It's a species that looks like it would be somewhere in the Everglades, away from human beings, but we've seen a lot of them on lawns and places like that. This is the closest look we've gotten just off the boardwalk. It's foraging in the water. It's a very beautiful bird, pure white with that pink bill. So great looks at this white ibis among the other birds here as well. In this part of the boardwalk, we spotted a red-shouldered hawk that Greg pointed out is actually a different subspecies than the red-shouldered hawks in the rest of the country.
This is a Florida red-shouldered hawk. It's much paler than the eastern red-shouldered hawk and not as colorful as California. This one is very pale, looks like it's been setting out in the sun too long, and it's got a grayish head.
Also in the vicinity was a purple gallinule that offered by far the best looks, not only that we've ever had, but probably the best we ever will have.
We've just been soaking up these purple gallinule views. It is right here, walking on the vegetation. It's been incredible to see those colors pop. The sun hits it, and you see more color than you did a couple seconds ago. It's just been insane.
Absolutely nuts to be able to get this close to purple gallinules just right off the boardwalk. And then every time I think I'm done, I'm like, okay, I've gotten a lot of looks at this bird, gotten a lot of videos. I look at it again, I'm like, no, I need to go back and do this. And then in the background, there's all these spoonbills. So you've got these bright pink birds out there, you got the purple birds here. It's just crazy out here. You deploying gallinule cam?
Yeah, gallinule cam. This purple gallinule was so close, I just took a GoPro video of it. I just took my hand over the side. It's like you're right next to it. That's pretty cool. It's wild that it did not care and that they're so close.
After finally tearing ourselves away from watching the purple gallinule, we arrived at a place with many different wading birds starting to build nests, including herons, wood storks, and roseate spoonbills. One particular spoonbill kept landing close to the boardwalk. Yet another impressively colorful bird that was so close it was almost difficult to photograph. This place is absolutely stunning. The views of everything have been so close. Spoonbills are a species that I've gotten some okay looks at, but they're just in your face. They're 5 feet off the trail. It's ridiculous. I've never been to a place quite like this before with so many unique species that get so close to you. We continued on the boardwalk. Each time we reached a new area, we saw more birds closer than one would expect, including blue-winged teals and a great egret with its plumes out. This is a fantastic look at the plumes of the great egret, a bird that was absolutely decimated by the feather trade where they were using feathers for fashion and things like that. And you can see why this one was a desirable one because those feathers are quite extravagant. It's really cool to be able to see it actually displaying like that. Eventually, we reached the end of the boardwalk and took stock of Orlando wetlands as a whole.
This place is just blowing our minds right now. Like, it's just close view of amazing birds everywhere you walk. It's been absolutely incredible.
I have a hot take. I think this might be the best place to go birding in Florida for people visiting the state.
And if you're a photographer, this is going to be like a gold mine for you. You could stay here all day.
We made our way back the way we came, passing by all the same birds that were still just as close as they were before. eventually ending up at the main trail.
I think that took a lot out of me. Like, it was just constant, like, photographing different things, constant, like, I gotta get some of this, I gotta get some of that.
Greg ran out of battery.
Yeah.
Meh.
He's done. He's done for the moment.
Don't feel
He'll get a
bad
new
for
one.
him. I'm sure he did just fine.
We headed out, but not before taking a look at the video that was obtained with the Gallinule cam.
All right, Greg.
I like how it just starts with screaming.
What do you think?
Oh, that is so ridiculous. I would have never dreamed that would have even been possible. That is stupid close.
The Gallinule Cam at Orlando Wetlands.
Overall, Orlando Wetlands was an incredible place to go birding, and probably one of the best in Florida. The combination of options for how you want to move around, including walking the trails, riding the tram, and venturing out into the boardwalk, combined with the close proximity of the birds, leads to a top-notch experience for birders of all levels to enjoy. We would highly recommend Orlando Wetlands, especially if you're in the area for Disney and get just one chance to drag your family out birding with you. If you like this video, take a look at one of our other videos about birding in Florida. Or if you're looking to head to another great birding location, try one from South Texas. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.